Welcome back to Soulful Prosperity, everyone. Today, I'm thrilled to welcome Sandy Nelson. She's a life coach, empowerment advocate, and co-host of the Naked and Feral podcast, which I can't wait to be a guest on. Sandy's mission is to help individuals, especially women, break free from their limiting beliefs and step into their highest potential. Whether it's relationships, health, wealth, or personal dreams, she's passionate about empowering others to achieve more in every area of their lives. Sandy is now expanding her mission to include everyone. Yep, men too, because she believes transformation is for everyone who feels the inner call to grow, thrive, and create their best life. Her journey is all about rising together. And today she's here to share her insights and wisdom on her journey and maybe tell us how we can tap into our power to live with soulful prosperity. Get ready to be inspired. This is going to be such an awesome conversation. As long as I can. There we go. Here she is. Hi.
Hi, thank you for having me. I so appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here.
My
So
pleasure.
the show is Soulful Prosperity, and basically we want to hear the real version, right? The behind the scenes, what you had to overcome, who you had to become, what you had to break through to get you where you are today, and what, basically who are you and what is your purpose, what drives you, and then what comes next.
Oh my gosh, I love this conversation. I love this question because I get to tell my story, and not a lot of people get to know behind the scenes my story. How far back do you want me to go?
Wherever feels right. This is you. This is your platform to tell the story as it pertains to who you are and who you're.
Okay, well, you know what? I'll go back to a little bit about when I was a young woman, and I started I had an interview to be, since that Mike Tyson thing came on, I'm just going to say I was going to be a ringsider girl, and I had an interview to be on uh, what you call the Fly Girls. I don't know if anybody remembers the Fly Girls.
Yeah.
You know, J-Lo was a Fly girl, and
In living color.
yes, and Rosie
Rosie
Perez. And
Perez.
she was an announcer for the Mike Tyson thing, And I had a dance instructor that was friends with MC Hammer. I had a uh, agent, and the agent, we were at. I didn't make it for the ringsider girl, and I knew what to do next. I wore the wrong swimsuit, and uh, so I so he informed me that I have an interview to be a fly girl in 2 weeks. And so I'm like, okay. And then after this boxing thing, I got invited to an after party. And my boyfriend at the time, who became my husband, he's like, it's either me or this life. And I had to make a decision. And I was a young girl, and maybe scared for my dreams, scared a little bit what could happen. And so I didn't go for it. I, you know, cowered. And he, to this day, says he's so sorry for doing that. So
He was
that's a good.
insecure and all that as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because he threw away all my modeling. Like, I had swimsuit modeling pictures. He threw them all away.
Wow.
And yeah, so then I got about a month and a half later, I got pregnant. And then we got married, and then we moved to Idaho. It's where I live now. And then, there's different types of people in the world, and I don't blame it all on him, but he was one that he had wandering eyes, and I want to say, try to be kind, but I found out, that he was with my first friend in Idaho, and not just my first friend. There was a whole bunch. There's a whole string, and he knows, so it's okay. It's my story, so I'm just gonna tell it.
Exactly.
And so from that, I went down. Like I was like so depressed, and in the beginning, I thought, oh, maybe he'll want me back, but then I was like, am I allowed to cuss on this show?
Fuck yeah.
All right. I was like, fuck, Sandy, remember who you are. Remember who you are. And I remembered that girl that was going to be Ringsider Girl, you know, um, and that girl that was going to try to make it to be a fly girl. Her, you know, I was all that plus a box of chocolates, right? And I knew it. I knew who I was. And so I was either going to be the one or the one that got away. My mentor at Melanie Ann Layer, she even says that a lot. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I remember when I felt that way. I'm going to be the one or the one that got away. And I was the one that got away.
Yep.
And then from there, I manifested my husband. I really, truly believe in manifesting. I didn't even know what all that was about. I just heard somebody say, do this and do this. And so I did. And back then it was like, that was the first time I heard what I call the Holy Spirit's voice, or our divine, our higher up. And it said, you've known since you were a little girl what's right and what's wrong. And I knew that it was over and it was time for me to rise and shine. And I had, like, we were in church and I had to leave the church. It's all a big, long story, but I won't go into those.
What year was this?
2002.
Okay.
2002. And then I met my husband in 2003, right before my divorce was final. And then we were married. And plus, we could like go back to old habits, right? We could go back to old habits, like maybe from my first marriage. And I wasn't leading my life. I believe in marriage, you could have shoulder to shoulder. Not the man leads,
Right. Or the woman.
Yeah. And especially, I mean, we're the multipliers.
Yeah.
I totally believe that we're the multipliers. And if a man can humble that himself to that and know that the woman is the multiplier, I mean, you're going to do extraordinary things.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I slipped into my husband was a wrestling coach, and I slipped in a big, deep depression, and I wore like sweatshirts. Lisa will tell you. So Lisa is my partner. We do our Naked and Feral podcast. And she was taking these photos of me, and she was like, my God, Sandy, like, you're beautiful. And I was like nitpicking everything in the photo. I did not feel good about myself at all. And I was on all these medications, like, name it. And then my husband's aunt came by and she had like all these medications. And I was like, I don't want to be her, you know? And so again, like I prayed and I was like, I need to shift something. Something needs to happen. And so little by little, and then I was led to my mentor, Melanie Ann Layer. And through those courses of, you're either the one or the one that got away, you're knowing your goddess feminine energy, the balance between feminine energy and masculine, and that she who leads herself, like we lead ourselves, and really tapping into that, but as a married woman, totally different. And the dance of leading. And, my husband and I, we've been together almost 22 years. And to know that we're the youngest we'll ever be, a lot of times marriage, it just stops, right? After they caught you, it just stops. And now with myself leading, I know one of the things that I used to love was, I mean, I love flowers. And one of the things that I hardly ever got was flowers from my husband. And now he buys them all the time just for no reason. He brings me my cup of coffee in the morning, and, it's his pleasure. And it all started with me showing other people how to love Sandy. And how I did that was I loved myself. I love myself like I would want somebody else to love myself. And I give other people that advice too. If you're single, married, start loving yourself. Like, sing those songs that you want your partner to sing to you. Sing them to yourself. Love on yourself. And so I started doing that, and my life it has been rolling and changing, and the best it's ever been. I'm living my dream life. I'm not a millionaire yet, I'll say yet, but that's coming. I have no doubt. I have no doubt. Yeah. So that's my little story in a nutshell.
I love it. So a couple of things. Why Idaho?
Well, Idaho is a really good place to raise children.
Okay.
And coming from Southern California, now, like, if you see, like, Idaho, I mean, so many Californians have came up here. Like, it is almost turning into California, but it's the good ones. We used to be able, like, in California, you'd go to the store and you're like, somebody's giving you a dirty look. And listen, I was born and raised in California, born in, the Coachella Valley, Palm Springs, Indio area. And, they would give you a dirty look in the store. Here you come up here to Idaho. My grandpa, he was from here, and he used to run, I found out he lived to be 100. I found out later from my uncle, he ran a brothel, which I think is super cool, but it was you could fish, you could ski, you could water ski, and everybody will say, hey, this is on sale over here. Why don't you go over to this store? It's on sale. Or they're very helpful. Like, my husband broke down, and we live in a small town, and everybody was like there to help him. They brought in the tractors and all this stuff to pull him out. That's why. Good people.
I love it. I love it. Okay. And talking about leading yourself, this has been such an amazing journey for me as well, because I always considered myself a leader. And then I discovered this pattern in the last few years that I was actually a people pleaser and thought I was leading, right? But really, all I was doing was taking care of everybody's shit, I don't know if you can relate to that.
For sure. People pleaser. Right here.
So, when you get into this zone of leading yourself and taking care of yourself and putting yourself first, but yet, and this is how I'm about to get divorced, and my marriage fell apart because I entered it as, and I don't blame him, I entered it as this leader, people pleaser. I'm going to do everything, take care of everything, and just do it all, be superwoman. And then, my energy kept ascending. My frequency kept going higher. I was doing so much self-work, self-development. The pandemic was amazing for me. And I had already been on that journey, and it just like, boom, I went like on this express train to ascension.
Right.
And so discovering that pattern.
Yeah.
And getting into leading myself. And it was an interesting dance in the marriage. And it just, for me, it ended up not working out because he wasn't willing to lead himself. So it's like, in a marriage, you really both have to lead yourselves. You have to
For sure.
Then you come together and rule, right?
Oh.
Like king and queen.
I totally get that. I totally get that.
Not necessarily higher, there's just different roles, but totally we have to. So that will be so important to me. If I ever get in another relationship.
You will.
my gosh. But that's been a huge lesson, and loving ourselves, and I was on one of my spiritual communities. I'm a channel. It sounds like you're a channel, and we were talking about the difference between deserving and worthy.
Oh, yeah.
Worthy is where you just know this is your God-given birthright. This is like all of it is everything. We have the
Mhm.
birthright to all of it. And then deserving is that very kind of masculine energy of like you have to earn the right? Earn a living.
Right.
Right?
Totally. You
Yeah.
got it. Yeah.
And that's like when you can get into that space about self-care and self-love and self-leadership, that it's not like narcissistic. Although my daughters call me conceited all the time. I was laughing when we were talking about your pictures. Like I've never been like a hard body. Like I've always been 10 to 20 pounds overweight. I've been even more. In my 50s. I'm like strong, healthy, and beautiful. I don't even go any,
Oh,
but there are photos of me where I was like, 200 pounds or very close to it. And never ever did I feel, like, and when I looked at the photos back then, now, like, I'm so much healthier physically than I've ever been. But so now I kind of look at it like, who the hell let me out? Right. But I'm joking. But I never even saw myself as heavy or unattractive. I was always, but it was all from this like false confidence or something. I don't know, but it's a good
I
thing to
love that.
yeah. So it was just a weird juxtaposition when you were like, here you have this perfect, beautiful, obviously, to be ready to go on TV in a bikini, right? I wonder, like, it's interesting because my self confidence came from insecurity and your lack of confidence came from insecurity. So it just had me think how sneaky that limiting beliefs and self-doubts, how sneaky it is in how it appears in our life, because I just was like, fuck everybody. I'm just going out there and I'm just doing it.
Right.
But the thing is, I was doing what they wanted.
I see. Yeah. I
So
hate
that
that.
still comes from insecurity. And I was very successful, had all kinds of high levels, built myself up, and then it all crashed. And it was because I was coming from a place of fear and doubt and insecurity. And
Right.
I'm a 5-1 generator, which basically 50% of the people love me, 50% of people hate
Ah,
me. But the problem with the 5-1 generator who's a people pleaser,
right.
the 50% who love you, if you are projecting what they want you to be, then they're going to hate you soon too. And that's why we
I
fall from grace. But
I
it
totally get it because I'm a 3-5 generator. So I
right.
have the fifth line too. And the fifth line can go into the people pleasing
Oh,
so so easy
and
because we're projected on like that.
and it was disguised as confidence. It
Yeah.
wasn't. It was because and I coined this as my shadow why. I don't know if you've ever done any shadow work,
Oh,
but shadow work is like
yes. You have to.
incredible. Yeah. So I coined it as my shadow why. It's like I was operating under false pretenses. I was operating to make sure everybody loved me and everybody thought I
Yeah.
was great. And it all blew up and it was the best thing that ever happened to me.
I love that.
So yeah, to whoever's listening, like we really got to dig deep into what's motivating and why we're doing things and who we are. And I love that you said you remembered who you are. How did you come to that place of remembering who you are?
I just think it was being tapped into the divine and and it was just like and it's kind of weird because I see a lot of people just stuck and they can't get out of it. Like they um but here I was, stuck actually in this marriage, but it had nothing to do with my husband. It had to do probably with the people pleasing of everybody. I was a coach's wife and I didn't have an identity really, you
Yes.
know, and let's, besides Coach's wife in a sweatshirt, Sandy, and Sandy wasn't being Sandy. Sandy wasn't, I still love that I was a coach's wife. They all called me, the funny thing is they all called me Coach Sandy because I would really breathe belief into those kids,
Right.
that you could be anybody. But yeah, so I think it was tapped into the divine. And um and then you say, I remember you said how confident I was. I remember when going out to be that ringsider girl, they also told me that I needed to lose 5 pounds and stop eating McDonald's French fries.
How dare they?
And I was like, what? And I didn't want to give up those French fries, I don't think. I don't know.
I think about things like that a lot, and so one of my mentors, her name is Sarah Lynn, and I asked her that question, and she channels something called the Council, which is it's a group of spirits or beings, and they have all this wisdom. It's really cool stuff, right? Really,
Uh-huh.
she's really channeled and tapped into the divine, and she's like, if Dorito brings you joy, then you do it. But if you're eating the Doritos feeling like I shouldn't be eating these, why am I eating these? Then don't do it. Right?
Right.
Because it's like it's you want to be in good shape, you want to be healthy, but chocolate mousse makes me really, really
For
happy.
sure, for sure. And like right now, like I don't have the most perfect body anymore. I think I weigh like 175. I don't care. Like, I don't think my husband even
I
knows.
don't even weigh myself anymore. Like I don't.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't weighed myself, but I can like, um, and of course I could eat healthier, and you could tap into that when, and okay, those Doritos aren't, so good for you, or maybe just have two, or a couple and put the rest away. But I don't know. Um, Also, Doritos isn't eating clean. It's all, we just got to listen. And when we listen, we live our best lives.
That's exactly it. That's what she meant. Like, so if it feels right and it feels good, and then what happens is when you tap into the energy, like this feels right or this feels good or whatever, and you do eat them, you're not craving them anymore. You're not like seeking them out. You take the power out of it
For
because
sure.
you go with the energy. And so it's like, yeah, I'm enjoying a bag of Doritos, and then all of a sudden it's not like I'm enjoying a bag of Doritos. It's gonna make me, clog my arteries and make my thighs get fatter, and that, like, because what you focus on expands. So
Yeah.
if you infuse it with the joy that it's meant to have, you're not gonna be like hoarding giant bags of Doritos and sneaking them and whatever. So I love that concept.
Yeah. And if we really tap in, I know sometimes it's really hard for people to tap in to knowing the divinity within, and I think the divinity within is your goddess. And a lot of people think that your goddess is foo-foo and getting your nails done, you know.
Mm,
It's not. It's in the receiving. It's in,
oh my God.
um, and she's powerful. A lot of people think that the goddess could be weak, but she is not, you
Oh
know.
my gosh. I here where I am now in the Dominican Republic, I get to tap into this divine goddess every day. I do it. I take this long walk on the beach every day and I collect seashells. Yesterday I got 13 absolutely gorgeous, not huge, they're like this big, just beautiful seashells. I mean, how much abundance is that? 13. Like, that's like
Yeah.
I've been here for 8 years. I've never gotten more than two in one.
Oh, wow. That's good.
Walking barefoot, feeling grounded,
Yeah, the wild hair. I
yes,
think that,
I,
and wild,
all of that. And I'm so in touch. And then the other part that I really discovered about receiving and being in this goddess space is simple things. Receiving is so much simpler. It's not like, give me all the money, what's in it for me? It's none of that. It's being able, when somebody says thank you, for you to be able to say, you're welcome. and accept the compliment, not like, oh yeah, no bother. Don't even, it's not even like, do you see yourself doing that sometimes? It's like you can't even, never mind receive a compliment, right? Women are so terrible at being able to receive a compliment. We can't even receive a thank you.
I know it. I know it.
Yeah.
And I know it. And I'm working on that receiving so much, and when we can tap into that receiving, because it's so hard to receive, try it. Try to receive a compliment without giving one back,
Yes. Well,
you
I think
know?
you can after you fully received it, because I think it's a great practice. One of
Right.
the practices I do on my walk every day is, and I got this from one of my coaches, Brian Johnson, is I try to, everybody that walks by me, immediately judge them in a good way. Like, I love their smile. Look at his six pack. Look at her six pack.
I love that.
I love her bathing suit. I love how they're holding hands. And then even when it feels appropriate and in alignment, to say it out loud to them.
For sure. For sure. I do. And
Yeah.
so, there's the receiving channel and
Yeah,
there's the giving channel. And if you could separate those, like, here's
exactly.
the receiving channel, here's the giving channel. I mean, it's,
Absolutely. So I agree with you. Like, you want to accept the compliment wholeheartedly and not feel like pressured or anything, but I think it's okay because I get so many compliments back when I'm doing this. So I'm literally am opening myself up to receiving as I'm giving, because
yeah.
it comes back. They're always like, oh yeah, well, I love your hat, or I love this, or I love that. Like, whatever. It's magic. It's really magic and gets me out of judgment, because I was always very judgy, very
Oh,
kind.
me
Really,
too.
but literally, I'm sizing women up in 2 minutes by what you're wearing and what the hell are those shoes, and it's been incredible. Even down to, I always had to have certain cars. I just traded in my $70,000 truck. I had this great F-150 Laredo, some sort of special luxury package truck. Loved it. I needed it when I was in real estate and blah, blah, blah. For a 17,000 Ford EcoSport. It literally is like a golf cart. And I feel more proud when I'm in that car, because I know I'm going to be here for 6 weeks. I'm going to be on the beach. I'm going to be where I want to be. This car is getting me to go where I want to go.
I love that.
And
Yeah.
I never want to have to need money again. I want to have, I'm going to have it all, but not because of extrinsic reasons. That doesn't mean I'm not going to have luxurious things as well, but just
So I
change it.
love how your coach has taught you to look at the beauty and everything, like looking at the beauty in people and
Yeah.
and shifting that.
Yes. That's so
And
cool.
yeah. And then what else were you saying about the beauty? And then what were you just talking about? Why did I just lose that?
That's okay. That's okay. So, tell us how,
Oh, I was going to talk about giving
go
or
ahead.
not giving, gratitude. That's what I was going to say. It was
Uh,
gratitude.
yeah.
How important gratitude. That was a game changer for me to get myself out of depression is
Mm,
gratitude. And if I can help anybody, a simple shift is before you go to bed is lock in 7 things that you're grateful for.
mm,
Write them down in a journal, send them to a friend, and lock it in. And it could be like I had a client of mine, and she couldn't think of anything she was grateful for. And I'm like, you have feet, you have arms, you have eyes, you have blankets over you, you have a roof over your head, you know, and really lock in how grateful you could be somewhere else. Somebody else wishes that they were where you were at right now, you know.
exactly.
So
And
you can do that.
I can breathe.
Yes, I can breathe, the power of breath, you know. Somebody may be taking their last breath, or they just found out, some bad news, and, so lock that in and it will totally shift. And if you can make a habit of that every night, and it's almost like it's a reality shift. And I created this, I'm going to be doing a class, but on that, I created the reality shift, and you shift your mindset, like your coach was saying. Start looking at something good, and uh, maybe it's their hair, maybe it's their shoes. Find something good. And
Yeah.
because your mindset was like looking like, oh my God, Becky, you know,
And then
and
he takes that a step further, and it's been really empowering for me is when that opportunity arises and there's an exchange, go deep. Really get to know that person in a 2-minute conversation, get past the small talk, connect, no matter who they are, whether they're driving your cab or, checking you out in the grocery store, in the elevator together. Like, break that awkwardness and create that chance to connect, because we are all one. We truly are. And the less polarity and division that we have, the better we are going to feel. So it's selfish, to try to connect. So first, finding something that you love or enjoy or makes you feel good about them on an extrinsic level, and then trying to connect on
I
a deeper
love
level.
that. I've never had that's neat for you to say, because that's something I'm taking in to learn, is maybe there's other people out there don't don't take the opportunity to connect. That's
Yeah.
something I've always been it's been easy for me to do, is to connect. But I actually did close that off and not want to connect because of how it's hurt before with all the women or people, and so I put up this wall and I didn't want to connect. But my husband used to say, "Man, Sandy, you can know their whole life. And how did you do that? How did you know all this and this and this? You were just there for 2 minutes and you know all this about them." But I
They know
stopped
about
doing
you.
that.
Do they
Yeah.
know about you? Do you open up? And are you vulnerable too?
Um, more so, not before. Not before. Like, even as a coach's wife, um, mostly sat by myself. I didn't want to get close to anybody.
Yeah.
I kept that.
I do.
Only very few people I open up to. You
Yeah.
know, yeah,
I do that, but I think it's also part of my profile. Like, I'm not meant to be like in these big communities. I get overwhelmed. I have to protect my energy, protect my aura. You'll see me, I'll slip in and out of We Are AF and whatever, because I get like just all of it overwhelms me. So,
yeah.
but I
And I
have
think
connections with like a handful of people.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's how Lisa's learning her human design. She just learned it. She's a manifesting generator 3-5. And her and I, back in the day, we come from a small town, and she reserved herself big time too. But her and I were ones, I mean, we're true blue. We connected. And it's kind of odd because we're like the odd couple. We're like, how would we have ever connected? Like, if we were back in high school or back in the day, would we have ever connected? Because she was a jock and I was not a jock,
Right. I love that.
so, but yeah, she's the same way, and maybe we have to, protect that a little bit. But also, here we are leading, doing our podcast.
Absolutely.
We want to share and help the other women who are going through it.
Yeah.
And maybe they need that little help or that nudge, or maybe they need more long term with us. But if we can, like, just a little bit, if they open up and they listen to us, or if there's something there, like Lisa and I we talked about for a long time, we're like, let's do a podcast, because there's like so many women out there who would love to hear what we're going through. We're going through it, and that we could help
Yeah.
them, you know?
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing too about being a coach. It's like, we can't pretend like we're already there. There's so many people that we are ahead of. right? But that's why we have like a Melanie Ann Layer. It's like this, like you're reaching up, asking for help, you're being pulled and guided and supported, and then you're reaching down to those that you can
Yeah.
and support and guide. And you can't do that without being vulnerable about where you are in the journey. Like I have no shame in saying I sold some stuff to be able to be here for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
on purpose, consciously, not in hustle mode, growing my business slowly and surely the way that I want to, regardless of, oh, I need money today and all that kind of frenzy. And I don't have a question mark around money anymore because I know that the divine is here to support me, and my intentions and my purpose is greater than me, and it's all good. It's all going to work out.
And you got to remember to tap into that. You got to remember, like, because I mean, just the other day I was like, what am I doing? Right? What am I doing? Are you know, you sure you want to coach, but then the divine shows you, yes, you were meant to be here. Keep going, keep going. Don't give up. Go on the path. People need to hear your story,
Absolutely.
And if we're like this with each other, with sisters, if we can walk shoulder to shoulder. I remember being also that tough, bitchy woman, um,
Me too.
right? I'm because you sound like you could be that tough, um,
I had
yeah.
to. I had to be from where I came from, and yeah. So what's next, Sandy? And if someone wants to work with you, how do they get in touch with you?
Okay, so they can follow me on Facebook, Sandy J. Nelson. And then on Instagram, it has to be Sandy J. Nelson 111. Somebody already had
Yep.
Sandy Nelson, so we got to put the J in there. And our podcast, Naked and Feral. And then from there, if they want to, do a one-on-one, we can do an application. I'm coming out. I haven't told anybody yet, but I'll have a program called The Reality Shift. I'm not sure if it's going to be a master class or a program, and they could tap in with that. And then with Lisa and I, we also have another how to feel sexy at any age. I think we have some little program for that too. But
I love that.
yeah.
I'm getting back into my sexiness. I'm sleeping in some sexy stuff, even though I sleep with my stuffed frog. Okay. He thinks I'm sexy, but no, it's doing it for yourself, and I think that's where that sexiness really shines through when it's coming from within. And, now my mission is just to have soft, comfortable clothing, but yet I want them to be sexy. And so I'm taking care of me, yet that sexy side as well. And just growing into the 50s, it's so cool.
Yeah, and the 50s is what they say. The 50s is the new,
30s.
30s or whatever. But also, I just heard the 60s is the new, whatever also. So we're the ones leading the way. And don't you find there's other women out there that it's over, it's over for them. There's nothing to look forward to. And it's not over, ladies. We're in our 50s and we've only just begun.
Yeah.
Like, what have you ever wanted to do? Go and do it.
In human design, they say the true wisdom doesn't come in until you're 50.
Yeah.
So,
and I love being tapped into my 50s right now, and I feel sexier than I ever have been. I'm bigger, and it's yeah. My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard. And that's what I love about my husband is that he's helped me. He's let me become. He's. I shouldn't say let me. You know what I'm saying? Like
he loves you. He loves you.
And he's like, he's not worried that, oh my gosh, Sandy is like, what the heck is she doing? Because I think about that a lot because I'm like, I wonder if I be the same way. I did. He was a wrestling coach, but it's like, here she is. She's becoming who she was meant to be.
Yeah.
And there's no blocking. I get to do the Naked and Feral podcast, which is crazy. He's our number one fan and tells people you'll be addicted, and
Love
then
it.
yeah, and then with me growing, we did have to have a conversation, and then the conversation was, and he decided to go. It's a longer process, or a little slower for him. I'm tapped in every day, but he decided to get a mentor, and which is
I love it.
Melanie's fiance, Kevin.
Kevin.
Yeah. And we're growing together. It's not always pretty, you know, and still learning to self master, conversations and emotional intelligence. I'm still mastering all of that.
Yeah.
And uh, yeah, I
We
don't
get
know.
to do that though. It's so awesome. So
Yeah.
awesome.
And I'm sorry you're going through what you're going through, but I'm sending you so much love, and it takes so much strength to go through what you're going through. And I know you're going through other stuff. You and I are going through it, and what it takes to be a leader, she who leads herself, it gives you new perspective for the people who we look up to and who've made it. And
Yes. We
yeah,
all have it. Everybody has something. Everybody has something. So we have to give ourselves grace and also give them grace. Like a long time ago, someone told me road rage has never really been my thing, but maybe it was because of this. Someone said when somebody's like going slow and keeps stopping in front of you, imagine that they can't find the address that they're looking for. And like when you start being able to reframe and imagine what's going on and just make it up, oh, they must be on the way to the hospital. Their husband, something terrible happened.
yeah,
Being able to reframe and giving grace and giving love to other people, that's where you're going to be able to show up and do it for yourself. So,
yeah. And here's the thing, like I just heard this from Melanie, is we all say we're in traffic. We're in traffic. Well, what if like I'm the traffic? So why don't you give space? You're part of it. Like give space, you know? And then also I always say, when kind of like the same thing is, you uh you could give them a story who's in front of you. And then also my story is like, okay, if everything's happening for me, right? And so so the person in front of me who's
yeah, it's
pissing
here.
me off right now.
Thank you. Maybe they're
Yeah.
saving my life. Maybe they're, delaying because somebody I'm supposed to meet is running 20 minutes. Who knows?
Yes. Yes. Or saving me from an accident, saving me from if everything's happening for me.
Yeah.
Okay. Now calm your ass down,
Yeah.
breathe, and then just remember and being like, okay, this is okay. And I always seem to get there on time or whatever. And even if I'm 5 minutes late, which I don't think I have been, I'm thinking in my head I'm gonna be, but I
Right.
get there. And like today, oh my gosh, today, like I was out of fuel. I wanted to get sorry, but it's a Red Bull. I know you're not, people, but I wanted to be able, because I'm not a morning person. So I needed something, and coffee just wasn't doing it. And then, so I had to stop and get me a Red Bull. Then I had to stop and get me two different places. And, the road's closed here. And then I'm going down the only other road that there's all these stoplights. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, I only have like 10 minutes left to get to Lisa's. And I'm calling Lisa, and Lisa's like, it's going to be okay. You know it. You just get over there. And then I was like, I know. Okay, I'm going to just trust and just remember everything's happening for me. You'll get there in time, perfect timing. No time to think about what is she going to ask me and what is this, and nothing to think about. It's all perfect for you. It's trusting. And then coming in here, and then I was like, okay, I need to plug in my phone. I need to do this. And,
Yep.
you know, and it happened in perfect timing. I mean, it was like I sat down, you were ready, you were getting ready. It all worked out. Everything worked out. And I could have just like been super duper duper worried and just everything was happening for me. It's all going to be okay. And it worked out. Perfect timing.
All right.
Oh,
So
I don't think I was late.
we're an hour late, but that's
Oh
okay.
no, but I had the wrong time.
I know.
Like,
But it's
all
all
right.
good. We're gonna end because I have another meeting. But it's been amazing talking to you. I look forward to being on Naked and Feral. I look forward to connecting with Lisa. I look forward to growing with both of you and getting to know you better and supporting each other and walking shoulder to shoulder. So thank you
Yes.
so
And
much.
I hope one day we meet in person and I just give you a big hug. And I
Yeah.
can't wait for you to tell your story. And if you have to take longer time to tell your story, even if it's just Lisa and I, or not Lisa, you and I, Jennifer, because Lisa's more busy than I am, or I have a lot more time.
All right, we'll
We
talk
can,
about it after. Let's end this recording. Love you. Thank you.
okay, love you too. Bye.